So we're just continuing on with WX webinar, WX Live webinar number 26 with 26A. Rob is got off his phone call and he is now going to show us, or show me, and we'll put the recording up, running the example application from WM17 called iOS System and what it takes to do it. So I'm going to give it to you, but I'm going to blow the screen up so everybody can see. There you go.
Okay. What I did was I have not had a need to do this, so I never had a general development certificate set up. So what I did was I went to the app ID. I created a new app ID. Well, just go to the configure. Actually, I'll do it this way. I just won't save it. I called it general. And then down here, I put in the bundle name. But at the end, I put an asterisk, a wildcard. So that way, any application that I run using this certificate will run. It's a good way to test, especially with WinMobile 17. You want to try to do their samples that they have. You can go and all day you can just keep moving them over to Xcode and running them. It'll work for everything. Then I went into the provisioning. And you'll see here I have general development. Okay, so I created a new profile. The next step is this: after you create the app ID, you need to go to provisioning, give it a name, tell it which certificate, tell it the app ID, which would be the general development, what device you want to be able to put them on. So if you have an iPhone, an iPod, an iPad, you have all three of them registered, you can check it for all three. So you can test on all three units. Okay, so I'm just going to cancel. So that's all I had to do there. Then I went to download. It downloaded the certificate. It does a little jumpy thing here. I then dragged that into Xcode, and now that certificate is available to be used. Now we'll jump to Xcode. Okay.
Now that was way too cool what you just did.
That's all that's
So it
needed.
did.
That's the tough thing. It's when you're dealing with just general stuff, it's easy. The time it gets confusing is if you use push notifications, because that's two different certificates. But if you know the confusing, the easy stuff is easy. So if you understand how the confusing portion works, the easy stuff is okay. It's simple. So then here in my code sign, I selected my general development code. So now on during debug, it's going to use that. So now if you're debugging an app and you can have just this general, if it's just a standard app, you can also have your release set up for that app so that when you go to do your final release, as I showed earlier with the schema, actually I forgot to talk about the whole release and deployment, but anyway, let's show this app. That's what we want to see. So that's all I had to do. Tell it that it's going to be a debug mode. There's my general certificate, and I'm going to run it. Once it's done and running, I'll jump over to the camera. Hold on. I just canceled it. Let me. I'll do the build again. All right. Once over here. Okay. Then that. Now you can play with colors, and it's tough to do backwards like this, but you can see. Doing colors and backwards here, so. Let's go to, okay. Here's some of the other calls. If you want to know the version that I'm running on this phone, it's 511. Language, English. And then the input pops up the keyboard. You can type anything. Okay, and it tells me what I typed. So.
Hey, it's a for real app, isn't it?
Yep.
And that's all Objective-C code. That's really something.
Yep, and here's one of the other samples. It's display a pop-up. Just worked a second ago. There we go.
There you go. They use that a lot in iPad.
Yeah. They even have a video player. Their choice of video is a little odd, but okay.
It works for me.
Actually, it's a WinDev. Must have had.
I wonder why they didn't have some of the French women modeling or something.
Well, I don't know if you can see, but it's actually a little giveaway that they must have had for WinDev at one point.
Oh, is this a swag?
Yeah, it says on the little blue thing, WinDev.
A little poster.
But so that is that's all it took. It just took that creating that general certificate, putting it in the code sign, and building it, and it was done.
So we can use that same general development certificate for running all the different apps, right? Through.
Yep. The only time you'll have to, I mean, you could deploy on that too. I guess there's two schools of thought. You can deploy on it, and then you don't have that many certificates to deal with. But if you want to actually kind of manage all of them, I think it's just better if you create a certificate for the application that you're building, and then that way you just know.
Yeah, but could you possibly like build one general development test or development, not production, but development, and then when you get to the final,
Yeah.
You know, then you can make your special certificates.
Yep. That's
because even with your push and all that kind of testing that you were talking about, you could probably do it there, right?
You can't on the general certificate. It will not allow you to create.
Oh, it has to be a different one. That's right. Yeah, I should have known better. That was just...
Here. If you look down here, under the general development, there's nothing's available. The only thing you can do is enable iCloud.
Let me move your picture.
So your general won't allow anything. Now, if you notice, I have something up here, but that didn't work because it didn't have the full code sign. It didn't have the full bundle name. So.
All right. Cool. And anything else? Otherwise, that concludes our. Yeah. Thanks again for coming back.
No problem.
Talk to you another time.
Good enough.
Bye
Bye.
now.